what you think, passing now, think, as all this must think, deep as love do now, all as my lip until but passing with all think, feel all this must think, feeling all when hate how much you are, passing now.
My name is Nathan, aka GoldRush. I'm from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. I am now the Director of Community Relations for Holo Esports, previously the social media lead for Holo Esports, and I feel like I excel in this role because I'm dedicated and make sure I get tweets out every single day. I'm involved with the company, I get to know each and every one of the owners and just work with them every day, and I'm super involved with them, which allows me to excel in my role. In the past, I've worked with a few other organizations, and it seems like Holo Esports is just actually run by people who actually want the company to succeed and want the company to excel, and they work hard every single day to do that. And I feel like a lot of other organizations, they kind of work maybe once a week or so to really build their brand, and not every day as Holo does. I was brought into the esports scene during the BO3 days. I just kind of got into the competitive Call of Duty scene, and just from there started watching a bunch of players. And then from there, I ended up in Black Ops 4 getting introduced to a few competitive players who ended up getting me into Holo, in a long story that may be saved for another video another day. I originally got into the business aspect of esports because living in a small town like Pagosa Springs is, the internet capabilities just weren't there for me to actually compete every single day with kids that had 1 millisecond ping when I was 67 or 60 to 70 millisecond ping. And so from there, I still wanted to be involved in the esports and wanted to be involved in the Call of Duty scene as well as the entire esports scene. And I figured that the business side of it would be the best aspect for me. My biggest inspires for my drive in Holo are just seeing all of the people, teams like Optic Gaming, teams like FaZe Clan, all of the really top guys who are now just living the life because of esports. And so eventually I would like to get to that point with esports alongside of Holo and just be able to live the life, and so that goal keeps me driven every single day. My long-term goal in esports is to work for one of the top tier gaming organizations in the world and just be able to make content every day, be able to really interact with the fans every day, and just kind of relax, go to big events, go to CWL champs, go to big CSGO events, stuff like that. I would say that the esports industry has changed in lots of ways in the past 3 years since I've really been involved in it. Not only is it way bigger with way more games, with all the inventions of the new Battle Royale games, but it seems like people actually know what esports is nowadays, instead of, whereas 3 years ago, if you would have told somebody Optic Gaming, nobody would recognize them. But now almost any teenager anywhere in the world, especially the United States, is going to know Optic Gaming, and there's huge crowds and support all over the world. My biggest regret regarding esports is probably kind of taking that step away from the competitive scene due to the internet issues. I feel like I may still go back once I go on to college and go to better places and kind of get into that, so I don't know if I regret it yet. I try not to have any regrets with my life, make every decision as it goes, but I would say that's definitely something I currently regret. Kind of wish I was involved a little bit more with the Call of Duty scene and hope to get back into that one day. I feel like the biggest flaw with a lot of esports organizations nowadays is the lack of communication between the owners, between content people, between the esports teams. And I think that's one of the reasons I see Holo Esports excelling is we have group chats, we have weekly meetings, we talk nearly every day with all of the people in the organization and just kind of get to know each other, get to know each other's strengths, weaknesses, and just work together and really have the Holo family, as we like to call it. And I think a lot of organizations are kind of too individual and people are in it just for themselves instead of for the team, and I think that allows Holo Esports to excel, whereas a lot of other companies seem to fall off. In the next 5 years, I feel like the esports scene is going to head in a pretty different direction than what it currently is, as Overwatch is going, as Call of Duty is going with the whole franchising thing. And I think that's going to work for a short period of time with the top level teams, but eventually I feel like it's going to go back to a lot of the AM scene is going to be really big with the teams that, or with the players that can't necessarily get onto those top teams, but we'll kind of just work around with that, and I think it'll kind of balance out to how it used to be. Video games has changed my life in lots of ways. Most of them being positive. Some of them I do, of course, sometimes play way too many video games, which is not that probably good of a thing. But other than that, video games have definitely allowed me to meet some amazing people and have some amazing experiences along with it, like Hayden and Hunter coming down to visit me this time, which thanks to them for that. Super awesome, super glad we get to do this interview. Definitely would not have been possible without video games. And I think video games has even allowed me to bond with a lot of my closer in real life friends that I've known for a while, because yeah, we see each other at school all day, but after sports practice and everything, it's nice to just go home, hop in a Minecraft server, hop in a Call of Duty server, and just play and get to know each other. The first video game that I remember playing was Crash and Bandicoot at one of my uncle's houses, probably 10 years ago. And then after that, the first console I actually owned was a PlayStation 2. And then with that, that's how I first got into the Medal of Honor and then Call of Duty from there, and that's kind of where it all began for me. FaZe and Optic are two of the biggest names in Call of Duty esports, and for me personally, I'm a huge FaZe fan. As any of you guys know, if you see any of my tweets on Twitter, by the way, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Holo_GoldRush, little plug in there. But I got into FaZe Clan mainly in Black Ops 3. They weren't the top team as Optic Gaming was in that, but I love Clayster, probably got me into them the most, just his personality and just showing his heart every single time, and from there I've just fell in love with FaZe Clan as an organization and through all the thick and thin. I would say right now an esports degree doesn't really have any value in the industry, because they're still probably trying to work on the degree itself, and with everything that's actually going on with it, just experience working with different organizations is going to be way more beneficial than an actual esports degree would be, at least in the current moment. I would say that the superior way to game, as I think a lot of people know, is PC gaming. You can run way higher quality, way higher graphics, everything along those lines. However, it is the most expensive way to play, and so for me, I'm on Xbox One because that's what all of my friends are on. So for me, that was the superior way to play, so that I could actually bond with all of my friends in that way. In terms of the next big esports game coming to the scene, I don't think it's currently available to players, and I don't think it will be in the next few years. I think the next big game to take off is going to be something like Fortnite, where it just completely came into a new environment with a whole new aspect, with the battle royale aspect. And so I think another style, instead of a first-person shooter I think that it's not going to be a first-person shooter or a battle royale or a MOBA or anything like that. I think it's going to be a whole new game, I guess, or game style that's going to completely take the esports world by storm in the coming years, kind of how Fortnite had just done that. If I were forced to listen to one video game soundtrack for the rest of my life, it would probably be Black Ops 2's soundtrack, because it's one of the few soundtracks that I actually know because of how much I played that game and just listened to it over and over again. And so just those beats and all the sounds are just so iconic, and I think I would choose that soundtrack over any other one. In the coming years, I feel like the esports industry is going to head down the world of microtransactions with free-to-play games such as Fortnite, and turn away from the typical $60 games, that whatever, and then a season pass on top of that. I think a lot of it's going to be just free-to-play games, and you buy as you go almost, which gives more money to the company and also allows players to keep playing the same game over and over again. I would, however, personally, as a former COD guy, I'd love to see us get back on the scene, which there are talks of in the coming future. Stay tuned for that. And then, of course, I'd love to see Holo really get into the content side a little bit more, make better videos, all of that, so you guys can all enjoy all of us instead of just when we're playing games. My name is Nathan, aka Holo GoldRush. This has been my Holo interview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.